Okay, so this is going to be just a quick theory video regarding Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I don't want to rant too long. I want to keep this at least under like 4 or 5 minutes. So you might have a lot of questions. I hope you do. I highly encourage that you leave comments after the fact of watching this and just leave your thoughts on what you think this time-traveling guardian could be doing in the story. I'm just going to be focusing on the new character, the new white egg-shaped guardian, you know, the baby guardian, whatever you want to call him. This character has become far more important after playing the demo. It's quite clear that he has a large part to play in the overarching narrative. It's a piece of information that was completely absent from Breath of the Wild's memories and just backstory entirely. We never heard any mention of this thing. And now that we know that its ability is to time travel, that makes a lot of sense. So I'm not going to go too much into how this thing is able to use the power of time. I do have a theory in the works that I think might explain a little bit as to how this Guardian is even able to use what appears to be the Gate of Time at will. So for now, to keep things simple, I want to focus on how this Guardian essentially saves Hyrule. I don't believe that it's going to be a time split situation. It very well could be. I'm not completely ruling that out. In fact, I think it's very likely. But what I'm banking on is that this Guardian will instead explain to all of us how Zelda managed to preserve her life for over 100 years during the sealing of Ganon. As we all know, once Zelda managed to actually unlock the power of the Triforce and the sealing power, she sort of put together this plan, right? Like Impa says how like she came to her with this plan and told her, you know, give this information to Link, tell him about the divine beasts, and I'm going to take the sword back to the forest. I'm going to leave it back in its pedestal and let it wait for its master. We put Link in the Shrine of Resurrection, let him heal from his wounds, and be ready for his return 100 years later. Obviously, for Zelda to have a part in that plan, she had to have a way to preserve her own life, the same way Link's life was being preserved. Like, if you think about it, there's two characters in Breath of the Wild who have managed to preserve their ages. Well, in the case of one of them, it's actually regressing in age, but you get the point. It's Link and Purah. In the case for Link, he was put in the Shrine of Resurrection, and that's what preserved his life for over 100 years, which is interesting if you think about it, because it essentially tells us that, oh, okay, so Sheikah technology has the ability to do this. Sheikah technology is what was used to create the Shrine of Resurrection in the first place, and that shrine is able to preserve a young man's life for over 100 years. Like, Link looks the same age as he was when he first got in it. He hasn't aged a day. And Purah claimed that this same source is what she tried to use to regress her own age, and it worked, but it obviously went too far. So we know that Sheikah technology not only has the ability to preserve a person's life, but you can actually, you know, turn it back or potentially even turn it forward. So Sheikah technology holds the power of time. And now this Guardian, who is also obviously Sheikah tech, also has this ability to control time, but to a much greater extent, potentially even controlling the actual gate of time. So if that's the case, it would make a lot of sense for Zelda to be able to do that. I mean, think about it. If Zelda is very closely connected to this thing, which she clearly seems to be, it has some kind of connection to her. We don't know what that connection is. Again, I do have a longer theory regarding that, but to keep things simple for this particular video, I'll avoid talking about that. So just assume at this point that Zelda has a very strong connection to this Guardian, and it has something to do with the power that lies within it. And Zelda is now able to manipulate this power in order to preserve her own life, similarly to how the Guardian, the Shrine of Resurrection, was able to do the same for Link, and how the Sheikah technology was able to do what it did to Purah. So somehow, some way, Zelda gains the ability to control time, and in the case of the sealing, she had to preserve her own time, her own age, in order to contain Ganon for over 100 years. Otherwise, obviously, she would grow old and probably not even have the strength to hold him in the first place. Like, obviously, like again, like, even think about what was she what was she eating? Like, where'd she get food? Was she able to drink anything during that time? Like, from what we understand, she was locked in Hyrule for over 100 years. What preserved her? Now we have a time-traveling guardian. We already have confirmation that technology can, at the very least, preserve someone's life. Maybe Zelda, with the help of this new guardian character, was able to preserve her own life for the sake of her plan to actually work out and to be able to seal him long enough for Link to regroup, gain his strength back, gain his courage back, have the events of Breath of the Wild play out, so that he can help defeat Ganon in the end. So that's about all I have to say regarding this particular theory. I definitely want to, like I said, I want to expand on it later. But for the time being, I highly encourage that you leave your thoughts in the comments below. I definitely want to read through them and just, hear your guys' own theories regarding this. I know that plenty of people have already shared their thoughts online, but I would just like to, add maybe a potentially new take on what this Guardian's purpose in the story might actually be. That being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.